2022. Roll call, please.
Anderson.
Here.
Babb. Here. Stuckey.
Here.
Palage. Pitts.
Here.
Rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, adoption of the agenda, of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion?
So
Second.
Dan and roll call?
Anderson.
Yes.
Babb. Yes. Stuckey.
Yes.
Pitts.
yes.
1-3, approval of May 25th, 2022 meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So
Second. Charles Davis.
Anderson.
Yes.
Babb. Yes. Stuckey.
Yes.
Pitts.
yes.
1.4, approval of June 10th, 2022 spatial meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Anderson.
Yes.
Babb. Yes. Stuckey.
Yes.
Pitts.
Yes.
Move on to public participation, and I don't believe there's anybody from the education, Springboro Education. 2.2, classified employees. Right. 2.3, nobody prearranged, correct? And is public participation on any agenda item? Okay. Move on to the work session then. And if the public has any questions about any of the items in the work session, before we go on to the next one, you can ask it and try to give you an answer. So, who's up first? Tara? Yep.
Item 3.2 is our renewal for our property fleet and general liability. Liberty Mutual, that renewal will start July 1st. Our increase is $43,000 over last year, which is a 17.6% increase. Some of that increase is due to the additional insured values for all of our buildings. Went from $185 million to $194 million in values. We also added 3 additional autos to our policy. In looking at our 4 years of paid and reserved claims, they exceeded premiums by about $200,000. So our total premium for this upcoming year will be $257,000.
All right. 3.3, oh, I'm sorry. Any questions?
Just on our claims, what's the process for determining whether to file a claim or pay it internally and maybe not?
Do you want to tackle that
Yeah.
one, Scott?
We always look at, what is the incident and what is the deductible associated with the incident. And then even if we turn it in, it doesn't go against the district. It's only if we claim against it. So typically we'll turn something in and then make that value judgment once we get some quotes or whatever it might be, or once we know about the incident, and then make that choice.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Start up 3.3.
Yes, thank you. This has been a pickup for specific positions, been a topic of discussion, certainly at our cabinet level, administrative meetings, and unfortunately, I think what's happening is we're starting to lose our competitive advantage in the workplace with administrators. I know Tara has reached out to her people, other treasurers to get information for us. We've thrown out 20 different options and ideas, but I think there's a bigger conversation to be had with the board, and I think, next work session or the following this summer, but I think we need to have that for others. But specifically today, we've got a real need for our 4 senior level cabinet members, which are 2 assistant superintendents, our district, our executive director of business operations, and our director of special ed. Those are are one of just a couple that don't have full pickup. And we're just losing people. What happens is treasurers talk, HR people talk, and they know where to find good young talent. And unfortunately, we're now the cornfield and they're picking off the ears off corn. Sorry for my farmer analogy, but that's kind of what's happening. And it's hard. You know, people will turn that down. The Centervilles know it, the people around us, are all doing those things. So it's not about so much paying a high salary. We've never tried to do that, but I think some of the benefits are just critical and really impact us. And so really, for me, it's really kind of an emergency. That's why we're bringing them now, at least these 4 positions. The other ones, there's a variety of ways we can attack those over time, over longevity, and I think that's a bigger conversation for the others. But what am I missing? Am I missing anything?
No, you're right, and I know I shared some data with the board previously, and we've received additional districts information since then, and each one of those have been pulled. So there will be additional information to provide in addition to what I've already provided when we do have a bigger discussion this summer regarding that. It's in terms of our geographical area outside of our top similar districts for OPE. In our districts all around us, there's only 2 districts that don't offer pool for all administration. And I think what ends up happening is even when people aren't seeking out other districts are seeking out our people. And I think that's when you start to really see where the disparity is in terms of what they're offering versus what we can offer. And so this will at least allow us to be competitive in that senior level, and then for the larger discussion to occur on maybe some sort of phase-in or other different options that we can do for other administration. I think as we work towards living out our strategic plan, it's really going to help us to be able to have that intact and those people to be here. When we have turnover in those positions, it's really hard to move those strategic plan and implement those plans going forward when there's turnover in those areas.
So, on the information you provided, and this is a question, so buckle up. So, ours is currently 5%, right, across the board, across the board for everyone that's eligible.
Yes.
What kind of threw me a little bit is we go to full for us is 14%, but you also had an incremental. Is it an incremental 10%, or are you just saying if we went up to 10%? I'm looking at the first tab.
Yes, so the first half, yes, so basically if we went to full, that would be the cost. If we
Yep.
went to 10.
If we went to 10,
it's-
okay, I
it's
thought
the
that was
difference-
like adding.
It's the difference in what we already pay now and what the cost would be, so
Got it.
I've already taken out the cost that we already pay. So
Makes
that would be
sense.
the additional cost.
Okay.
She was giving us all kinds of different options on the
Yep,
first
no,
tab.
that makes total sense. And then one question on the second tab. For all the districts that are showing 14, is it fair to say that 14 for them would also be a full pickup, or is it?
That's full.
Yes,
Okay.
that's considered full pickup. The ones where you see the 15.45, that's
That's
where they're
pickup
picking
on
up.
the pickup.
Yes, that's
Got
where
it.
they're picking up an additional.
Okay,
revenue.
so we are kind of low.
Yes. And that's, and keep in mind, unless it specifically says it in the notes section, that's for all administration district-wide, all the way down to coordinators, assistant principals, principals, unless it specifically says that they have different percentages depending on what their title is.
Okay, so Lebanon's full, Franklin's full, Miamisburg is full, Mason's full. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else here. Middletown.
Little Miami School, I just got theirs yesterday. The only one that wasn't full was Middletown, and Monroe is kind of similar to, or, in our geographical area, they're the ones that do 3% for 1 to 3 years, and then 6% for 4 to 6, and then 9% for 7 plus. That was the only other one in our geographical area that wasn't full, besides Middletown.
The data you provided is very, very helpful just to get the big picture, because you had it grouped with similar districts across the state and then districts around us that might not be similar, but they are the districts that are around us. But yet when your yellow area at the bottom is the summary of all of those, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So when you've got, and this was before you heard from those 4, so I'm gonna add to that. So it'd be 23 of them have full pickup, 18 had partial or range, and then 2 had under the 5%. So clearly, we have some work to do. You know, it's a huge, when you go back to the first cap, it's a huge chunk to just go all in. I just don't think there's any, we can't do that. But I agree with the 4 to begin with, because I think when we go back to when we, the administrators were there with the strategic goals, they're the ones that came up with those. And it's critical that we have the people that understand what it is that we want to do, what we need to do to move our district forward.
So Lisa, were you saying option 4? Or are you saying?
You know, the 4 people tonight,
4 people.
I think we need time.
Yeah.
Tara gave us a lot of different options here, which is really helpful. I think we need time to absorb and figure out what to do, how to phase this in. I think tonight, I agree. I agree. We need to look at those 4 people right now. But we know when you look at that summary of 23 are full and whatever that other number was, 17 or whatever, 18 were partial and only 2 are below. We need to fix that. So, but I like the schools that have had the way that they addressed it was longevity in the district, and longevity can be whatever position you held. Because, you know, we have people that have worked their way up as teachers all the way up, and that shows amazing commitment to Springboro. And so I don't think it's just being in an administrative position. It's if you were started off in this position and you're up here now, I would count it from here. So I just think there's a lot of, you gave us a lot of creative options to consider. So I agree, let's bring this to a work session, but bring those forward tonight.
And I do have 4, just, you know, being around lots of options, but I do have 4 other ones that I haven't shared with you that are completely based on options. So once we have a larger conversation, we can look at some different
Great.
phasing type options.
Okay,
and the
thank
costs
you.
for those.
Well, for years and years, we've been the training ground for people, whether it's teachers or bus drivers and stuff, and we made progress in many areas. Now it's in our central office a little bit here, so.
And to circle back on the strategic plan, there's 2 sections that are solely surrounded by retention and looking at what other districts being competitive in the market. And so it's strictly will tie into some of our initiatives for us to really look at those, the differences of what we offer district-wide, not just in this area, but to look at all of our salaries, all of our supplementals, just to see where we are and have conversations.
Well, and I would challenge us as a district not to assume this will fix it. We need to look at why are people choosing to go elsewhere. This, I'm sure, is a component, but we need to ask those difficult questions also to make sure. I mean, money talks and we all have a living to make, but are there other things that we also could address as a district and retain more quality people?
All right. Guess we're on to 3-4, any committee reports? Didn't have any. Discussion of any other business? Move on to treasurer's report.
All right, the first 4 items for you, approval of a donation of $364 to the Springboro Special Olympics and use of Sunday dinners. Approval of a donation of $536.65 from the church, Christ Church United Methodist to assist with seniors to the peace and that's all there as well. Approval of donation of an Amazon gift card valued at $50 to be given to Michelle Yanzao, teacher at Dennis Elementary, James. And then item 4.4, approval of donation to the student meal balances for graduating seniors at leftover lunch counter accounts, and those donors are listed for a total of $67.95. We have those separated from here.
Wonder if she knows who James is. Probably.
Is James trying to be an officer?
Well, the student said they.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, cool.
So I know we had this one time before. It's showing up because somebody essentially brought it to central office.
So they brought it to the teacher and
The
it's up to
teacher
$25
kind of
in
reported.
policy. So per our school attorney, if the board approves it, then we are able to give it to the teacher.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve 4-1 through 4-4?
So moved.
Take a vote.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
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 And then my last item is approval to change the retirement payment for those 12 positions from 5% to full.
Any other discussion on that? So is there,
Sorry,
let me get a motion first.
Oh, yeah. Charles.
Is there a second? Any questions?
What was the amount again?
It's 38,000.
Got it.
And then we'll go next one because hours difference.
Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Personnel report.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. President. I am presenting to you the June personnel report. It's a little longer. Calling attention to lines 58 through 92. These are yearly things. Home instructors, in the event that they would like to volunteer, if we need home instructors, then which we typically do, they are approved if they can fit it into their schedule. Likewise, for the classified personnel, we do this every year in the event that they want to sub for food service or as an EA, whatnot, if their schedule allows. So this is a yearly approval. And then I want to draw your attention to line 22 and 23. All of the people that we are finding and employing right now are all critical, and we're so thankful, but we were able to secure 2 amazing nurses, which right now is almost next to, it's like bus drivers. But both of these women are fine additions to our staff, one to the junior high and one to 5 Points, so we are very lucky.
Good. All right, is there a motion to accept 7-1? No, I'm sorry, 6-1. No, I keep going back. I want this over. Before the air kicks out here.
Such a nurse.
Yeah, this one. Is there a motion for 5-1?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Gershner, 6-1, sorry.
This is the next one. Stop.
I quit.
So don't quit.
Yeah.
Not quit. I'd be happy to jump in line, I'm always last.
Ready? Mr. Board President, members of the board, item 6.1 is to approve the renewal of property, fleet, and liability insurance with Wade Insurance.
Second. You quit, so.
Okay.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Yes.
7.1.
You sure?
No, just do it.
Mr. President, members of the board, there are 4 items on the agenda tonight for special education. The tuition and transportation are renewals for a student who has been in that placement for a number of years, and the other 2 are extended school year services for the summer.
Is there a motion to accept 7-1?
So,
So moved.
second.
Any questions or discussion?
No.
Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Bath?
Yes.
Stuckey?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
8.1, no reports, go ahead with comments.
I want to start off with, it was exciting to see on social media the Oregon Gilliam training, and I love being a district that's hosting that and bringing in other districts. So that was just exciting to see. You know, you've heard for so many years that our students with dyslexia are just not getting the service. So thank you for taking the lead on that, and just it's exciting to know that the students that struggle with that are going to be getting the next level of support. The other thing is to invite people out this weekend to the Juneteenth celebration. We have lots of exciting things at North Park. and 3-on-3 basketball at the Y. And at Southwest Church, if you have not had the chance to go through Undesign the Red Line, it's the most amazing exhibit. It's been going through Dayton, different places in Dayton. We're going to have it Friday through Monday at Southwest Church, and it talks through redlining and the impact that it has had on people of color. And it's all historically based, and it's a very interactive exhibit, and we will have host tour guides there that will help you walk through it. So it's open. It's all through social media right now, but the hours, there will be a host there guiding people through it. You can drop in at any time. So we are hopeful that it will educate anybody who comes on just what is happening. It's all based right in Dayton. So it's neat. We went through it with a group of leaders in the community when it was at the library in Dayton, and it was neat to hear some of the people say, I grew up right there. I grew up right there on that side of the river, and I know exactly what they're talking about. So it's neat to be able to have that here in Springboro and helping our community learn about that, because I did not know anything about it until I went through the exhibit myself. So I encourage everybody that can to go through the exhibit at some point and to join the Juneteenth celebration. Yep, right by the light. Yep.
Did you give the hours?
On Friday, it's 10 to 6. Saturday, it's 10 to 6. Sunday, it's 9 to 3. And Monday, it's 10 to 6. It does, because we're going to run it during the church service. And it's Father's Day, but we are running it during the church service, so people at the church can also go through it. And we'll have the tour guides there during that time also. Yep.
Yeah, we're.
You guys are going through it on Monday.
On Monday.
Yep,
So I
yep,
just want to make sure that that's-
yep. Thanks, that's it.
Mr. Anderson? You okay?
Just trying to heal.
Aren't we all? Mr. Goods?
Any updates on the high school? Eric, the
Yes, actually, it's due in Friday, and hopefully install Friday, and so hopefully Monday, we can get back to full capacity. Yeah.
Ticket item or?
What's that? Oh, yeah, there were only 3 motors in the entire United States.
We got one.
So we were fortunate enough to actually find one. I believe it actually was on the West Coast.
Okay.
And so we had to expedite it to get here.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very challenging,
Is it gonna
yeah.
be a big bill later or?
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
I didn't think it would be cheap.
yeah, it's actually under 10.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, which is really good, yeah.
So did we move everything, like summer school and everything, has everything been moved to this building this week then?
Summer school moved to the junior high. Girls basketball camp was offered the opportunities to move, but they decided to stay. You know, they were going 1 to 4.
Girls,
Neither one's
that's impressive.
air conditioned.
Right.
Junior high, we got there.
Yeah. We had offered them Dennis, but it was a little too small, I think, for them, for their campers, so, yeah. So, you know, we really appreciate custodial staff, to be direct, has worked right through it, and they're to be commended for the work that they're doing. They've done a great job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
We're glad you found the chiller and it's not that expensive. We're going to take back the pickup. You know. Thanks for all the donations, and once again, hopefully, we're in the midst of July and August weather here. Hopefully, well, it's going great this weekend. That would be good for the Juneteenth festival up there, so that's all I have.
I'm sure everybody's been noticing the construction, especially the asphalt that's going on, and so that is, those are things that are really expensive to do that would have come out of the general fund or not, been able to do it. And then you have bigger issues. So thank you to the community for their support just over and over again. They stepped up and they saw that. And so it's really neat to see that happening. So
Do they do it from all of the parking lots or just all of them?
Yeah, Correct.
Educare, will that get done also? or-
At some point in time, yes. It's not inclusive in this package, but
Okay.
it will get done at some point, yes.
Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn then in record time?
Second?
Wow.
Roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
And 14%.
Yes.
Yes.
Adjourn.
Yeah.